What you are looking at here is a monument to one of the worst atrocities and war crimes of the 20th century, Babin Yar. Babin Yar was a location on the outskirts of Kiev, but now it's kind of just part of greater Kiev. But back in the Second World War, the occupying Nazis and their sympathizers marched tens of thousands of mostly Jews, many Romani, and many Ukrainian nationalists out to this spot where they ruthlessly massacred them and buried them in a mass grave. And why am I here? Well, I'm here because first and foremost, I want to reiterate that this country, this land, this soil is steeped in blood. They have known massacres before. I'll include a link to a vlog I did early in the war at a location where the NKVD, the Soviet police, committed a massacre there, a mass grave. This country knows this kind of behavior. They've suffered through it before. And, after the horrors of Babin Yar, some were held accountable. There were Nazis that faced due process and were punished for their crimes after Nuremberg. And I am filming this, another reason why, because recently, in the last few days, Vladimir Putin has been indicted for ethnic cleansing in what the Russians are doing with first creating orphans by their aggression, and then subsequently taking those orphans in what they deem to be kind of a kindness of spirit, that they would take them away and de-Ukrainianize them and make them good Russian children. That is, by its essence, ethnic cleansing. Now, do I think Vladimir Putin is ever going to see the inside of a jail cell? Probably unlikely, but certainly it's going to deeply damage Russia. They will not be able to have, say, a head of state available at some of these, big international meetings where sidebar meetings happen. This is not, this is not something that Russia can escape. This conviction out of the ICC. He will most likely, and this is my belief, and I've said this before, end up either, frankly, dead or in exile in some sort of, Napoleon at Elba at his massive castle in Sochi. But the final reason why I'm filming this during this introduction is because last week I was out in the east of the country, and on my way back to the capital, I stopped off at what I considered to be hallowed ground. It moved me. It shook me greatly to see the brutality and the result of that brutality. If you haven't heard about what happened out in Izium, it is now being investigated. There are still trappings of police tape and the like, because there is clear evidence that Russians buried many victims of their violence and their cruelty. The corpses found at a place called Izium clearly indicate that many of them had suffered torture and abuse and were violently killed. So I didn't walk away from that the same. And so I share that now with you, and with some moments of clarity and ability to, kind of get my thoughts together, I present to you this vlog on the Graves of Izium. Next to that proper cemetery, all the graves here, and there are hundreds. I hesitate to even call them graves, holes in the ground where bodies were laid and then later exhumed for investigation and a criminal investigation, forensics. Hundreds are here. Holes in the ground in this peaceful forest. And this little grave here, this little hole, is for an 86-year-old woman, born 1936. She lived through the Second World War, only to die at the hands of Russian thugs. And I've been here filming for a while, and initially I was hit with shock and sadness. But then a second emotion comes up, and it's anger. Real, honest-to-God anger. 86 years old. What threat did she pose? Why did she have to die? Simply for being Ukrainian? That's the crime? No, these people who died here, they deserve justice. They deserve an investigation. And whoever did this, whatever Russian monster committed these crimes, they need to see the inside of a jail cell. They need to be punished. This is unacceptable. My heart is heavy. So this is body 119. One grave of hundreds. Viktor Konyev, born in 1938, lived through the Second World War, only to die at the hands of Russians. You know, and to those who say, well, I don't know what's going on, we don't know all the facts, and there's information warfare and manipulation and who to believe. I'm here. I'm right here. I'm showing you this. This is real. These are crimes. These are people who died at the hands of Russians simply because they were Ukrainians. This is real. Look at it. Look at these graves. Look at these holes. Each one a life, snuffed out, cruelly. We can't turn away. Russia has to pay for their crimes. The soldiers that did this, I don't even call them soldiers. I hesitate to even call them soldiers. These are monsters. These are barbarians. Look at the Graves of Izium. And then you tell me whether or not we should be helping the Ukrainians repulse this disgusting, inhuman wave of Russians committing crimes like this. I say Slava Ukraini, Героям Slava, but in this instance I say it because despite this disgusting act of barbarity, they're going to continue to live, and there will be glory for them when this is all over. A victorious Ukraine will rise from the ashes of this kind of activity and build a better country. Nobody deserves this, even if there are Nazis in government or Nazis all over the place, which is not true. But nothing justifies this. Today I'm angry. Tomorrow, maybe I'll be sad again. Next day, maybe I'll be afraid again. But someday this war will end, and someday the people who committed these crimes need to be found and punished. Slava Ukraini. Героям Slava.